morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Leadership Insight series. Today we have Bharat Wakhlu, who is the ex-MD, India and South Asia for Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation, now a part of American defense giant Lockheed Martin. Mr. Wakhlu has 35 years of professional experience across the continents of Europe, Asia, and America, and 30 of which have been with the highly revered Tata Group. Welcome, Mr. Wakhlu, and thanks for being on this forum.
Thank you very much, Susshruth. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. So let me start right away. On the forum, I've been getting questions, and some of the questions I'll just look for your insights on. First one is, with your decorated career with the Indian bellwether Tata Group for over 3 decades, can you recall any instance where you faced such unpredictable times like the current COVID pandemic? And if so, how did you ride the wave?
Okay, that's an interesting question, Susshruth. You know, every phase or every time there is something unusual that happens, like right now we have I think what really happens is that people are drawn to fear because of the high degree of uncertainty. So if we were to use the uncertainty of different phases that I'm privy to or I've been part of as a test, then I would say that in the late 1990s, between 1995 and 2001 and 2002, you'd recall there was a huge surge of interest and investments in the new technologies that were pushing towards the dot-com phase of our business experience. And technology dominant platforms like NASDAQ indices were going up very, very rapidly. So in 1996, I remember it used to be around 850 or 1,000. And all of a sudden by 2001, it had already crossed 5,000. So there was a huge amount of hype. And then 9/11 happened. And suddenly there was fear because everybody was uncertain about what's going to happen next. So I recall that phase had a lot of these similarities with the current crisis, the current pandemic. But the common thing was fear and uncertainty and an inability to control what's really happening around. So as for how I and my company at that time, the Tata Group, how they went through this, I think, Indian companies are by and large pretty conservative. And the Tatas especially are not the kind of flamboyant group that will, spend money when the times are good and forget about everything else. They're very conservative. They've been around for 160 years. And I think that learning helps them to be, to moderate their enthusiasm even when the going is good. So for brick and mortar companies in the Tata Group, there was an impact. Demand abroad, and TCS suffered because a lot of their clients pulled back. But by and large, it was because of the consistent and long-term focus that many of the Tata companies that I was familiar with, they were able to ride the wave and not come out badly affected. So the lesson really is that if businesses have a long-term focus, you are far better prepared to face these, ups and downs, because that's part of life. It's part of the business cycle itself.
The second question is, you've worked across sectors like steel, automotive, manufacturing, consulting, tech services. Based on your experience of dealing with recessions multiple times before, what advice do you have for business leaders regarding how to bring their business back on track?
Let's not forget that business cycles are a reality. There will be booms and busts. This is the way we are. This is the way humans think. We all, like a herd, we move towards new technologies, new investments, new opportunities. There's a glut of all that. So businesses will always go through ups and downs. Some would be because of a correction that's required, or because there's a euphoria that's created. Multiple factors. So a strategic thinking leader will always understand that business cycles are a reality, and you can't always keep on doing things pretending that you'll have a never-ending bull run. So it's very, very essential that leaders remain rooted into the idea of creating a robust business and a resilient business. Now, what does that really mean? A robust business means that even if there are shocks from the marketplace, from your customers, from technologies, from uncertainties like the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, you have the ability to buffer all these things. And you have the ability to quickly and swiftly bounce back again. Now, that is not something that you can do when the going is tough. This has to happen months and years before the crisis actually strikes you. So my short answer there for Susshruth is, when the going is good, remain rooted into this idea that there will be a downturn. There will be changes. There will be something that will hit you, which you may not, even with all the scenario planning that you might do, you may still not get, because that's the nature of the world. So it's very, very essential that all action that we take today will have an impact tomorrow. You cannot be digging a well when there is a fire. That is rarely effective and has nothing but disaster written all over.
My next question coming from the forum is, experts say that financial markets across the globe will now start evaluating companies or businesses based on their cash at hand, not their balance sheet or their P&L. Today, if you were running a company, how will you manage these new performance parameters?
Okay, first of all, Susshruth, it's very important to understand that wise and sensible business leaders do not run their companies on the basis of the metrics of the financial markets. And I'm saying this with all the experience at my command and with all my understanding of how things happen. And the reason is that business leaders have to be driven by fundamentals. What is the value proposition of the enterprise? Whom are we serving? What is the methodology that we are using to be differentiated, to create a unique product or service that's going to tide over ups and downs in the business environment. So good and smart leaders who are driven by long-term interests of the shareholders, stakeholders, and the enterprise will not be affected by these occasional tweaks in the financial market metrics or the way they will perceive it. Because you have got to start thinking about value creation for the long term, and that is based on not merely your output, but even the inputs, even the manner in which you create the value, in the manner in which you run your enterprise, your credibility, your compliance, and a whole host of other matters. Now, take for instance, investors tomorrow will start looking at businesses from the perspective of how environmentally sustainable they are. Now, if a financial market does not factor this very, very important aspect, and I think this is going to be really a game changer for many, many businesses, as well as for investors in the coming months and years. Now, if the financial markets don't take this into account, you will actually see situations where businesses might be going further away from what is appropriate and what is right from a long-term perspective. So my short view, therefore, on this question is, businesses have fundamentals to work on. They have got to make sure that they are not overwhelmed by those people who might put pressure on them, saying, oh, the financial markets are not responding to you because you're not taking care of this metric or that metric. I think that kind of pressure has always been there, but has to be politely kept away, because fundamentals and long-term focus and now environmental sustainability are going to be the new mantras for success and longevity.
Thank you, Mr. Wakhlu. Again, I thank you for your time coming on this forum, answering questions and giving your crisp, insightful and directional answers, which is going to help business leaders and decision makers across the globe, including people like me. These insights are worth their weight in gold. So again, thank you. And
thank you very much.
Stay safe.
I really appreciate it.